Welcome. Today we're diving into a fascinating development from MIT that's shaking up the world of artificial intelligence, recursive language models, or RLMs. Imagine a small AI model outperforming the mighty GPT-5, not by brute force, but by using a clever trick. In this video, we'll break down what RLMs are, how they work, and why this approach is making waves in the AI community. Whether you're a tech enthusiast or just curious about the latest in AI, you'll find out how a simple shift in design can lead to remarkable results. Let's get started by understanding the problem RLMs were built to solve. From 2023 to 2025, AI research was obsessed with context window size. Models went from handling 4,000 tokens to over 1 million, with some even claiming 10 million. The idea was simple: feed the model as much information as possible, entire code bases, books, or chat histories, so it could remember everything. But in practice, this approach hit a wall. Users noticed that as conversations or documents grew longer, models started to forget, hallucinate, or give shallow answers. This wasn't just a technical limitation. It was a fundamental flaw in how models processed information. Let's explore why this happens. The phenomenon where models lose track of information in long contexts is now called context rot. Even if all the data technically fits within the model's window, its ability to recall details drops as the context grows. This isn't just about running out of space. Attention gets diluted, and the model can't focus on everything at once. Researchers also identified the lost in the middle effect, where models miss important information buried deep in the context. Bigger windows help a bit, but come with high computational costs and diminishing returns. So, what have researchers tried to fix this? To tackle context rot, two main workarounds emerged. The first is compaction, summarizing long contexts and discarding the original details. While this saves space, it's inherently lossy. Important information can be lost forever. The second is retrieval augmented generation, or RAG. Here, documents are split into chunks, embedded as vectors, and stored in a database. At query time, the most relevant chunks are retrieved and fed to the model. RAG works well for finding specific paragraphs, but struggles with tasks that require reasoning across scattered information or performing computations. Both methods have their limits. With RAG, the model acts as a passive reader. It only sees what the retriever selects, never the full dataset. This means the model can't actively explore or manipulate the data, it just reacts to what it's given. This setup limits the model's ability to reason deeply or perform complex operations across the entire context. The model is spoon-fed information, unable to take initiative. This is where recursive language models introduce a radical shift, turning the model from a passive reader into an active explorer. Let's see how RLMs change the game. The core idea behind recursive language models is surprisingly simple. Instead of stuffing all the context into the model's prompt, store it as a variable in a Python environment. The model then writes code to explore and manipulate this data. Rather than drowning in information, the model interacts with the context like a programmer working in a Jupyter notebook. This shift transforms the model's role from a passive consumer to an active participant, capable of slicing, filtering, and analyzing data on demand. It's a subtle change, with profound implications for how models handle large, complex tasks. Traditional models are problem-centric. They try to solve the task with whatever context fits in their window. RLMs, on the other hand, are context-centric. The context lives outside the model, and the model interacts with it through code. This means the model can focus on the problem at hand, using code to fetch, process, or analyze only the relevant parts of the data. It's a more flexible and scalable approach, especially for tasks that require reasoning across massive datasets or performing computations that would overwhelm a standard model. Here's a helpful way to think about the difference. RAG asks, "What's in the document?" while RLM asks, "What can I make the document do?" With RLMs, the model isn't just searching for information. It's actively manipulating and exploring the data. This opens up new possibilities for complex reasoning, computation, and dynamic problem-solving that go far beyond what traditional retrieval methods can offer. The model becomes an agent, not just a reader. Let's walk through a typical RLM workflow. First, you call the RLM just like a normal model, passing in your query and context, but instead of feeding the context directly, it's loaded into a Python REPL as a variable. The model only sees the query and instructions on how to use the REPL. Next, the model writes code to peek at the data, checking its length, structure, or searching for keywords. The REPL runs the code and returns the output, but only up to a certain limit, forcing the model to be strategic. This process repeats as the model narrows down the relevant data. Here's where recursion comes in. If a chunk of data needs deeper analysis, like classifying hundreds of entries, the root model can spawn subagents. Each subagent gets its own clean context and performs its task, such as classifying a chunk or extracting information. The results come back as variables, not as long text blocks. This keeps the root model's context lean and manageable. The root model then assembles the final answer, either directly or by referencing the variables it built up. This recursive approach allows RLMs to handle massive, complex datasets efficiently. To visualize the RLM process, the root model receives a query, writes code to explore the context, spawns subagents as needed, and assembles the results. At no point does the entire context flood the model's attention window. Instead, information flows up as variables, keeping each model call focused and efficient. This structure is key to RLM's ability to scale to massive contexts without suffering from context rot or overwhelming computational costs. Traditionally, giving models tools meant defining each one with a JSON schema and using a tool calling API. Every action required structured data, round trips, and rigid menus. RLMs break free from this bureaucracy. Tools are just Python functions in the REPL namespace. The model can call them directly, compose them, loop over them, and chain results, all by writing code. This makes RLMs more flexible and efficient, resolving tasks in fewer steps and with less overhead compared to traditional agent frameworks. React-style agents append a new turn for every action, causing the context to grow linearly and requiring the model to reselect tools at each step. In contrast, RLMs operate more like writing a single, well-structured program. The model generates code, runs it, and maybe tweaks it once. This leads to faster, cheaper, and more focused problem-solving, especially for complex tasks that would otherwise require many back-and-forth interactions. The real excitement comes from benchmarks. On Oolong, a challenging long-context reasoning test, an RLM built on the smaller GPT-5-mini outperformed the full GPT-5 by more than double on the hardest tasks, with similar costs. Even as context sizes doubled, RLMs maintained their lead. On massive retrieval tasks, RLMs handled over 10 million tokens without degrading, outperforming both RAG and React-based systems. These results have been reproduced by independent teams, confirming that RLMs aren't just a fluke, they represent a genuine leap in efficiency. Why does a smaller model wrapped in an RLM beat a larger, more expensive model? The answer is focus. The hardest part of long context tasks isn't raw intelligence. It's not drowning in data. By breaking problems into clean, narrow subtasks and using deterministic computation, like Python code, RLMs let modest models outperform their bigger counterparts. The model doesn't need to remember everything. It just needs to know how to find and process what matters. The MIT team's results have been validated by other groups. Prime Intellect scaled the RLM idea and saw similar gains in token efficiency. Open-source projects like MinRLM report processing unlimited context with far fewer tokens. This consistency across different implementations and teams shows that RLMs are a robust and generalizable approach, not just a one-off success. Despite their strengths, RLMs aren't perfect. One major caveat is that deeper recursion doesn't always mean better performance. Studies found that allowing subagents to spawn their own subagents' recursion depth is greater than 1 can actually hurt performance, increase costs, and slow down execution dramatically. RLMs shine on genuinely hard multi-hop tasks, but for simple lookups, the extra machinery can backfire. The lesson: use recursion wisely and keep it shallow for best results. Another important caveat: RLMs rely on executing code written by the model itself. This introduces real security risks. If not properly sandboxed, the model could write code that loops forever, leaks data, or even causes harm. Most serious implementations run the REPL in an isolated environment with strict resource limits. Never point an RLM at sensitive production data without robust safeguards in place. While RLMs can be more efficient overall, their costs are task-dependent. Lots of subcalls can add up, and while the median cost may be lower, some queries can become expensive outliers. It's important to monitor usage and budget accordingly, especially for applications with unpredictable workloads. RLMs involve multiple steps writing code, running subagents, and assembling results. This makes them more complex and potentially slower than a single model call or a simple RAG reverse. For latency-critical applications, where speed is paramount, traditional methods may still be preferable. RLMs excel when depth and reasoning matter more than raw speed. RLMs are a young technology. The first blog post appeared in late 2025, followed by a research paper and a wave of re-implementations in 2026. While the tooling is improving rapidly, it's still maturing. Early adopters should be prepared for evolving APIs, documentation, and best practices as the ecosystem stabilizes. It's important to note that RLMs aren't a replacement for RAG in every scenario. For straightforward semantic retrieval over a fixed pre-indexed corpus where speed is crucial, RAG remains an excellent and pragmatic choice. RLMs shine when the task requires reasoning and computation across the context, not just finding a relevant chunk. In practice, many real-world systems will use both approaches together. Let's compare RAG and RLM directly. RAG is great for quick lookups and semantic search, feeding the model the most relevant chunks. RLM, on the other hand, empowers the model to actively explore, compute, and reason across the entire dataset. Each has its strengths, and the best choice depends on your specific needs, speed and simplicity, versus depth and flexibility. So, when should you use RLMs? If you're working on agentic coding, or any task that requires reasoning across large, messy, interconnected information, like analyzing a whole code base, tracking long histories, or computing over thousands of records, RLMs are a game changer. They let the model operate on data directly, moving beyond passive reading to active exploration and computation. If your task is fast semantic lookup over a fixed corpus, like searching documents or answering straightforward questions, RAG is still a solid and often simpler choice. It's efficient, reliable, and well-suited for applications where speed and simplicity matter more than deep reasoning or computation. The open-source ecosystem for RLMs is already thriving. Tools like Alexang 1.3 RLM, RLM Minimal, MinRLM, and RLM Code provide great starting points for experimentation and benchmarking. If you want to try RLMs, start with a recursion depth of 1 and resist the urge to make things more complex than necessary. The community is growing, and resources are improving rapidly. One of the most exciting aspects of RLMs is the shift in ownership. When you run an RLM locally, with your own REPL and tools, you control the intelligence. The model explores your data on your machine, under your rules. This contrasts with cloud-based models, which ultimately serve the interests of whoever owns the cloud. RLMs make true AI ownership more achievable, giving you more control and flexibility over how your data and models interact. It's worth noting that cloud models are still incredibly valuable. Many RLM benchmarks were run on cloud APIs, and for many users, they remain the best available tools. The key is to be mindful of who controls your AI and to choose the setup that best fits your needs, whether that's local, cloud, or a hybrid approach. RLMs represent a significant shift in how we think about AI reasoning and interaction. By letting models execute context instead of just reading it, we unlock new levels of flexibility, efficiency, and ownership. As the technology matures and the ecosystem grows, we can expect even more powerful applications and innovations built on this foundation. The journey is just beginning, and the possibilities are vast. To sum up, recursive language models are a breakthrough that allows smaller AI models to outperform giants like GPT-5 on complex, long-context tasks. By moving context outside the model and letting it interact through code, RLMs avoid context rot, reduce costs, and enable deeper reasoning. While there are caveats and challenges, the benefits are clear for the right applications. As open-source tools and best practices evolve, now is a great time to explore what RLMs can do for your projects. Thanks for watching, and stay curious about the future of AI.